Attorney General, Minister for Economy, Civil Service, Communications, Housing and Community Development. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, very good afternoon and Bravi Nata. Before I proceed further, I express my heartfelt sympathies to the people of Fiji affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as recent natural disasters such as serious flooding brought by heavy rains in the west and the tsunami and fallout generated by the Tonga volcano eruption. I also congratulate the acting Prime Minister on the historic meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Mr. Antony Blinken. I extend my best wishes on the beginning of a more direct partnership between Fiji and the United States, as both countries are close partners of Japan. Ladies and gentlemen, today the auspicious formalization of Japan's COVID-19 crisis response emergency support loan phase 2 for Fiji marks another important milestone in Japan-Fiji relations, as well as for enhancing Fiji's resilience against COVID-19. I had the honor of formalizing the Part 1 of this emergency loan on 22nd February 2021, exactly 1 year ago, with the Honorable Prime Minister Bainimarama, and today I had the privilege of doing the same with the Honorable Acting Prime Minister for Phase 2 of this emergency loan. I'm very pleased to say that through this emergency loan, Japan will provide funding of approximately 200 million Fijian dollars, which is approximately equivalent to 10% of Fiji's total revenues of this fiscal year. This emergency loan has exceptionally concessional terms, such as interest rates of 0.01%, 15-year repayment period, and 4-year grace period. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to highlight the harmonization of this loan with the 9th Pacific Island Leaders Meeting, or in short PAM9, held virtually last July. Despite the challenges of COVID-19 pandemic, Japan greatly appreciated the distinguished participation of the Honorable Prime Minister Bainimarama in the PAM9. The then Japanese Prime Minister and the Honorable Prime Minister successfully held a bilateral meeting during PAM9. We are pleased that both countries have greatly enhanced friendship through this high-level engagement. One of the key achievements of the PAM9 is a joint action plan for strengthening Pacific bonds and for mutual prosperity, which is also known as Kizuna Bond Policy. This policy provides a framework for concrete actions and greater collaboration between the Pacific and Japan. This emergency loan is in line with one of the priority areas of the Kizuna Bond Policy, namely strengthening the foundation for sustainable and resilient economic development. I'm very happy to see that today's signing is a tangible and rapid materialization of our commitment. And I wish to take this opportunity to enlighten our continuing assistance extended to Fiji since the Part 1 formalization of this emergency loan to date. Japan has contributed as well as formally committed to contribute a collective sum of 531 million Fijian dollars to Fiji. This funding includes the loan for Fiji Airways through ADB worth about 50 million Fijian dollars. The support through international organizations such as UNICEF and UNDP for the response against COVID-19. the provision of heavy machineries to the Ministry of Fisheries, the Ministry of Agriculture and Waterway. The construction of the Tamawaiwai Bridge was about 60 million Fijian dollars, for which preparations are underway to formalize this funding soon with the Ministry of Infrastructure. And over 10 projects through our grant assistance for grassroots human security project program implemented amongst Fiji's diverse local communities. In addition to development cooperation, the Japanese company, Chugoku Electric Power Company, and Japan Bank for International Cooperation acquired stakes in Fiji's EFL with a vision to develop renewable energy system in Fiji. Ladies and gentlemen, since the beginning of 2020, the whole world has been tackling the COVID-19 pandemic. Fiji has become one of the most vaccinated societies in the world and opened its borders on 1st December last year. Following this measure, on the 6th of this month, Fiji significantly eased the restriction towards COVID-19. Although the threat of the virus has not faded away, it can be safely said that Fiji is at the forefront of controlling COVID-19 and close to setting itself free. I'd like to pay tribute to the leadership of the Fiji government and the efforts of the people for having made great achievement against the pandemic. We understand that the impact of the pandemic on the economies of many countries, including Fiji, is long-lasting, and this is why Japan is supporting Fiji through this emergency loan once again. I conclude with confidence that this emergency loan will help expedite Fiji's recovery and economic revitalization, as well as further strengthen friendship between the governments and the peoples of Japan and Fiji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency. Thank you. Naka. Your Excellency, the Japanese Ambassador to Fiji, the Deputy Resident Rep of JICA, ladies and gentlemen, and of course the Permanent Secretary for Economy is here, and Namiya, who is the Head of Treasury, is also here. This, as His Excellency highlighted, this is indeed a momentous occasion. Your Excellency, today's date is 22/2/22. Must be something auspicious about the signing date. And it's also the second day of the week, so everything's all in twos. But of course, this is the third tranche of funding that you provide to us under this particular agreement that we have. And today, as we saw, ladies and gentlemen, is the signing of the exchange of notes formally between our two countries. And the second document we did sign was the actual loan agreement for the crisis response emergency support loan. As His Excellency has already highlighted, this amounts to 25 billion Japanese yen. And the three tranches was, the first lot we received was at Fijian $187.2 million, with a 15-year loan period, 4 years grace period at an interest rate of 0.01%. We then had also received a standby loan for disaster recovery and rehabilitation loan, which is Japanese 5 billion, or Fijian $92.8 million, which was at highly concession rate, even though the interest rate was the same, but it was over 40 years payment period, inclusive of 10-year grace period at 0.01%. And today, of course, we're signing the $185.7 million, again at 0.01% with a 15 years loan period with 4-year grace period. This is part of, ladies and gentlemen, the ADB Sustainable and Resilient Recovery Program. This loan facility by the Japanese government and the Japanese people through JICA complements the ADB Sustainable Resilient Recovery Program. The objective is there to also to contribute to support the implementation of economic, fiscal and health countermeasures, in particular in order to improve the public in response to the COVID-19, but also to improve the public financial management system, policy-making function, in the business and investment climate of the government of Fiji, and to, of course, strengthen health systems. This contributes to the economic stabilization, the stability we've seen in the development efforts overall of government. And we'd like to very much, once again, Your Excellency, thank your government and your people to helping ensure that the path that the government is on continues in a more deeper manner to provide the stability that's required, notwithstanding the fact that we've had a global pandemic outbreak. Ladies and gentlemen, the financing is a policy-based operation measure. In other words, that means access to finance is subject to achievements of agreed reforms listed in the policy action metrics that we have for this financing arrangement. The implementation period of the policy reforms is from March 2022 to June 2023. And government, of course, will provide updates of the reform actions as agreed to with JICA. The program will be, of course, monitored by JICA in cooperation with ADB, and indeed, very much it is not very difficult for us to do because we're already on that path. This formalization of this agreement, of course, means that we can, of course, embark on further projects. As His Excellency also highlighted, apart from this, the Japanese government has provided assistance in a number of other areas which he has highlighted. We are very excited about Jugoko and JBIC's participation in EFL. They have now 44% shareholders. The Japanese companies we have seen, and indeed organizations like JBIC, hold very high international standards, whether it's environmental compliance, whether it's in terms of corporate governance, transparency, accountability. And so this is why we're very excited about this particular relationship, but more so in particular in helping us reduce our carbon footprint. And that is the renewable energy capacity and the technical know-how that Sevens, which is the company which owns 44% of EFL, will bring to EFL, but overall to Fiji and indeed to the Pacific. We believe that this relationship has the potential to, of course, further provide services to other Pacific Island countries using EFL as a model. So, Excellency, thank you very much for this. We look forward to even further and better opportunities. We believe there's a lot more opportunity in the private sector also, whether we're talking about retirement villages, etc. We are most grateful for your contribution, and we are very, very grateful, of course, to the Japanese people for this facility that they provided. Thank you. Naka.
It is now my pleasure to invite the two leaders to participate in a photo opportunity and exchange of notes.
Can you hold it up? Yeah.
It is my pleasure to invite the two leaders to participate in a photo opportunity.